And we are live. What's good, people? It's your man DL Saints. Welcome to the I Really Want to Know podcast, hosted by yours truly. I hope you guys are having a good Saturday. I know I am. Like I said yesterday, my daughter came home early. She normally spends the summers with her mom. She came home early, and I've been a happy camper ever since. That just made my summer right there, man. You know, when you have kids and they're gone and then they come back, oh my God, it's just the best feeling ever. That's all I want to tell you. So I'm happy. So welcome. I was just over with Suzette Speaks on her platform, Suzette Speaks, and they were talking about mental health, the importance, the importance of maintaining a good sound mental health, uh, and mental health awareness and stuff like that, especially for the Black community. It's a great show with great guest host she had on there, Nelson. I forget the brother's last name, but he is in the field. He was the expert on. Great conversation over there. It was good times. Definitely good times. I was over there doing what I normally do. Had a little fun. We was bringing up some pretty cool topics, and we landed on the topic of men crying in front of their women, being emotional and stuff like that. I was like, I don't know about that, and that really opened a can of worms over there. That I you know how I get down. I'll jump in somewhere as paratroopers do, make a whole lot of noise, blow up bridges, set some ambushes, and then get out of there. And I got out of there, and it was still raging when I left. So that was cool though, man. Shout out to Suzette Speaks. She is extremely professional, real cool people. I am so glad to be able to call her a friend, colleague in this YouTube world. She's taught me so much. So salute to you, Suzette. Thank you so much for everything you've done. So yeah, man. Yeah. Now we're over here. It's a Saturday. I had to take a little time off, so I'm just cranking out content. I want to get back to doing what we do over here. Had a pretty good show a couple days ago. I had my buddy Rook on. We were talking about female warriors throughout history. Rook's a subject matter expert. I mean, he's just a historian, and he's on point with his stuff. Yesterday was talking about Brittany Griner and her struggles over there in Russia. And today, I just wanted to do a little bit of a roundup kind of thing. I'm always reading articles. I'm always, seeing what's going on, not just in America, but worldwide. My news feeds are just crazy. I get stuff from everywhere. So it was a few things that came up that I read over the last week and a half or so, and one of them was about how much money does one need to earn to be considered wealthy, and then it was a breakdown by cities. So I kind of wanted to get in that because right now we are technically in a recession. I mean, there's been no growth. You look at where the stock market, what the stock market has been doing. You look at unemployment numbers. You look at GDP numbers. You got all that stuff that the money people talk about. The Dow Jones has been down, way down. The NASDAQ down, S&P down, even crypto down, which if crypto was working the way it was supposed to work, crypto should be going up. Gold, silver should be going up, but gold is down. Like precious metals should be going up. It normally goes the opposite of the stock market, but everything seems to be trending the same way, down. So, and up until this point, what was the government doing? What was the Fed doing? It was always bailouts, and then more recently stimulus, right? So going all the way back to the real estate bubble when it popped, and then like TARP and all that kind of stuff, and it was just print money, print money, print money, and then we had the pandemic, made people stay home, print money, print money, print money. Everyone stayed home. They shut down the supply chain, and now they're like, we got to do something. We got to do something. You know what I mean? No more quantitative easing. We need to do some quantitative tightening. No more STEMI. No more bailouts. No more tax breaks. And no more low interest rates. And that's the key. Interest rates are going up. The Fed is serious about it. The Fed has been raising interest rates. And now we are in a recession. because you're making money, but your money has less purchasing power and all this stuff I'm talking about. There are experts out there. I encourage y'all to go out there and learn up, read it as much as you can, watch as much as you can, either CSNBC or really YouTube. I suggest George Gammon, Rebel Capitalist Show. Check him out on YouTube. And this guy's, he knows what he's talking about. Y'all might want to holler at him, see what he's talking about. But what's going on now? We have inflation. We're in a recession, trying to battle inflation because there's so much money out there. Dollar has less purchasing power, is worth less, whatever. So I was just curious, like, well, how much money it takes to be considered wealthy? I was just wondering. I wanted to get something now. I wanted to look at it, and then I wanted to revisit this maybe a year from now, 6 months to a year from now, to see how much money you need to be to consider wealthy. Because we got to see what's going to happen. Like, we're in this recession. If the Fed doesn't do anything, if they continue to raise the interest rates, which they should, if they stop printing money, which they should, it's going to be a hard 18 to 24 months. You know what I mean? Maybe a little longer, maybe a little shorter. It's going to be hard. It's going to be harder on some than others. But on the other end of that, things should return to normal. And of course, housing is the big question mark right now because housing is so out of control. We're going to talk about that, as well as an article I read in particular about the rental market. So we're gonna bring an article up about that, and then there's I found a funny article about some company. Someone bought a company and what they did with that company, which is hilarious. So let's get right to it then. No need on waiting. So here it is. So here's the article right here. CNBC Make It. This earning thing is written by Mike Winters. It was Sunday, July 3rd. 2022 is when this article came out. Here's how much money it takes to be considered wealthy in 12 major U.S. cities, right? And look at there, San Francisco. They got that Golden Gate Bridge. That's a beautiful bridge, by the way. That's a beautiful view. If you ever go to San Francisco, you got to check out that view. Be careful, though. A lot of homeless up there. This is what's not shown in this picture is the half a dozen or so homeless and crazy people lurking about behind the camera guy. So if you do go up there, be careful. Keep your, as we used to say in the Army, eyes up, baby. Be careful. And California is next to impossible to legally obtain a weapon, to be able to carry said weapon. So you're going to be unarmed. Just keep that in mind. But that was a beautiful photo. So here we go. Depending on where you live, a net worth totaling millions of dollars may still be considered merely comfortable, a new survey finds. Look at that right off rip. In the U.S. overall, it takes a net worth of $2.2 million to be considered wealthy by other Americans. All right. That kind of makes sense. I thought that's kind of low. $2.2 million, you're considered wealthy. All right. Well, actually, that's kind of high. To be considered wealthy, a net worth of $2.2 million. No, that's high. That's high. What am I thinking? What am I on? Nah, that's real high. 2.2. You're a millionaire. You're only considered wealthy. Wow. And that's up from 1.9 million last year, according to the financial services company Charles Schwab annual Modern Wealth Survey. Now, Charles Schwab has been around forever. I wonder how much stimmy money did they get on the last go around. They probably got a bunch. However, if you want to be considered rich by residents of large metropolitan areas, it will require even more wealth. In San Francisco, the threshold for what's essentially wealthy is a net worth of $5.1 million. That's the highest total in the survey when examined 12 of the biggest metropolitan areas in the country. So look at that. If you want to be considered wealthy, you need a net worth of $5.1 million in San Francisco. It's a lot of money, y'all. That's a lot of money. And it just goes to show you how expensive California is. I lived in California off and on for about 25 years. And I used to tell people all the time, like, I lived in LA mostly. I spent a few years in San Diego. And people would always ask me about the cost of living. And I would tell them, like, bro, there's people in LA. And this was back, I left LA 2 years ago. So like 2.5 years ago, almost. So, back in 2010, 2011, like that range. I knew people who were making $60,000 a year and they were living in their car because they couldn't afford rent back then, way back then. You know what I mean? 2009. Yeah, I knew people who were living in their cars making 50, 60, $70,000 a year. In LA, if you're making, I want to say $70,000 or less, it might be 60 grand, you qualify for assistance. Like you can get food stamps and stuff like that. San Francisco, I think if you're making 90 or $100,000 or less, you qualify for assistance. So yeah, that kind of makes sense. $5.1 million just to be considered wealthy in San Francisco. Wow. To be considered financially comfortable, a San Francisco resident would need a net worth of at least $1.7 million just to be comfortable. Man, I wish they would give us, definitions for these terms. Just to be considered comfortable, you need $1.7 million net worth. Net worth. That's after you done pay taxes and all, you pay all your, they take all of your assets, and once you account for all your liabilities, you're still left over with X, and they're saying you need to be left over with 1.7 million just to be comfortable. Wow. Here's a look at what it takes to be considered wealthy by city in 2022 as ranked by net worth threshold. So we already talked about San Francisco, $5.1 million. Southern California includes LA and San Diego, $3.9 million. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. New York, $3.4 million. I'm still surprised that New York threshold is lower than the LA threshold. I really am, because New York, especially like New York City, and this is like New York City, is expensive, yo. I mean, for real. It's very condensed. It's expensive, bro. Like what they spend on rent in New York and what you get for said rent is like a shoebox, a walk up, no AC, no central air, craziness, right? That same amount of money, you come to LA, you have a door guy, you have tons of amenities. You know what I mean? You're looking at probably anywhere from 800 to 1,500 square feet for the same amount of money. So, so like in the early 2000s, early to mid 2000s, New Yorkers were flocking to LA. Like all the way leading up to the pandemic, they were flocking to LA. Washington, D.C., $3.3 million. Wow, that seems expensive. I wonder if they take into account the suburbs and stuff like that, but wow, $3.3 million. Seattle, same. Close to $3.2 million. Phoenix, $2.7 million. Boston, $2.7 million. Dallas, $2.6 million to be considered wealthy in Dallas. Wow, because Dallas isn't that expensive. Wow, that's I would think the threshold would be lower. Houston, the same, $2.6 million. Atlanta, $2.5 million. I mean, Atlanta's starting to get real expensive because, they have an explosion in growth there, and their population and their housing market is outrageous. And, a lot of this is maybe tied to people housing, like people were like paying off their houses at, 200, 300,000. Now those houses are worth close to $1 million, maybe over $1 million in some neighborhoods. So maybe that has a lot to do with that threshold. I don't know. Chicago, $2.5 million, and Denver, $2.3 million. So you got to be a proper millionaire, right? You got to be a proper millionaire just to, be comfortable and just be considered wealthy. That's kind of crazy. What's good? Candace M's in the house. Well, good afternoon. Good afternoon to you, love. I appreciate the support always coming through. We have lost 50,000 in our IRA mutual fund since the beginning of this year. You're going to lose a lot more, love. I'm so sorry to tell you. You're going to lose a lot more. I don't even look at my portfolio anymore. I don't. You know what I mean? And I'm not even, like, we have different funds. I'm not even in the most aggressive funds. I mean, I'm just in like the secure stuff. I'm mostly bonds, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. Like I'm not, I'm watching people's portfolio. Like friends of mine are telling me like, yeah, man, I've already lost, 13, 14, 15%. I had a guy say he lost 25%. You know what I mean? It's how it works. You know what I mean? Sorry, love. It's just how it works. You got to ride it out. You definitely don't want to pull out. It is what it is. You just got to ride this out. On the other side of this, it's going to be crazy. I've seen multiple talking heads Old guys out there with real money, and they're saying, look, people are bailing on crypto and all that, right? Like, fine, don't. If you got into crypto at a low price, man, if you got into crypto when it was low, ride this out. I got triggers in my mind. You know what I mean? I'm no financial dude. It's just I'm doing my own research and I'm talking to folks. If Bitcoin and Ethereum hit certain numbers, I'm buying. I'm buying. And there's people buying the dips and all that kind of stuff. I'm waiting. I don't think we've gotten to the worst of it yet. I think Bitcoin is going to dip below 10,000. That's my personal thing. There are people who are saying it's going to get as low as 3,000. I hope it does. Ethereum is going to definitely dip below 1,000 and stay there for a little while. I hope it gets down to as low as 600-700. Really, if they get down to 300, it'd be great. And I have triggers in my mind. Once I see these triggers, I'm buying entire coins. I'm buying entire coins. I'm going to get my crypto wallet set. I'm going to do it the way it's supposed to be done. Blockchain is supposed to be done a certain way, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to buy and I'm going to hold. And this is for my daughters, not for me. Everything I do now, all the moves I make now, the financial moves, whatever I'm doing, is for my daughter. So when I'm gone, she'll have this watch. She can sell it 10, 15 years from now for 3 times what I paid for it. That's what I'm doing. So yeah, Candace, hang in there, babe. Hang in there. And Tom Hunter, what's good, brother? Welcome. First time I've seen you here. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you so much. I am just short of being able to live in San Francisco by $5.1 million. Yo, good for you, man. It sounds like you doing the work. Made the money, man. Good for you. When you at this point, when your net worth is in the millions like this, yo, you can you can live anywhere you want, be honest with you. But I thought it was amazing that these are the numbers it takes to be considered wealthy. You know what I mean? It's like, wow. Back when I was growing up, man, if you had $800,000 in savings and net worth or whatever, you were considered wealthy. Not anymore. Candace M, hit the like and subscribe button. Yes, please do. Please hit like and subscribe. Thank y'all so much for your support. It's a Saturday. I know y'all got better things to do, and y'all here listen to your man DL Saint talk crazy, and I do appreciate it. So let's get back to it. The online survey was conducted in early February with a sample of 500 to 750 local residents from each metropolitan area between the ages of 21 and 75. Net worth is a measure of value of the assets a person or corporation owns minus the liabilities they owe. See? You know what I mean? So, this is like money they as nets. This is just money in the clear. And that was that article. Real, very simple, very easy. Like Chef Tell used to say. Yeah, I said Chef Tell. I'm aging myself. Y'all know I'm old. Chef Tell used to be the man back in the day, way back in the day. We're talking late 70s through the mid 80s, I believe it was. It was a TV show. What was it called? AM, PM radio, PM TV. I forget what it was called. But anyway, she had a segment on that show. It was kind of cool. Chef Tell. He would be cooking and stuff, and as he was doing it, was like very simple, very easy. Had a very, like, I don't know, it was Austrian accent, maybe German, I don't know. But anyway, let me come out of this. There was another article that I'm gonna bring up for you guys on the same topic, and need this one. And we're gonna go through this article as well. I like to read, like when I'm out here doing stuff in life these days, y'all know I'm not a Trump guy, but you know what? He is on to something a little bit when it comes to fake news. The news isn't news anymore, it's entertainment. They're selling a product, they don't care about the truth. So you gotta vet everything you see. You're gonna have to go out and get multiple stories on the same thing, try to cross-reference this and that. When I was coming up back in the day, the networks were given free airtime by the government, by the United States government, for 30 minutes on each network to tell the news. Right? That was it. It was not for profit. They were there to simply report the news. And that's what they did. Of course you're gonna get a slant one way or the other if your news anchor tends to be more liberal than conservative or vice versa. Of course you're gonna get a little more passion with some stories than other stories. But at the end of the day, the truth was the truth. They went out, they were newsmen and women who went out to the four corners of the world to find out what's going on, to the point where some of them didn't come back. News correspondents were murdered. You know what I mean? They were murdered by factions, they were murdered by gangs, they were murdered by governments to keep the truth from the people. It was a dangerous gig. They didn't get paid a lot of money, but they were passionate. Nowadays, only thing getting murdered is the truth, y'all. That's the only thing getting murdered because there ain't nobody telling the truth no more. You know what I mean? So you got to go out. You got to go out there and you got to find the truth. You got to find this out there. It's like being one of King Arthur's Knights of the Round Table. You have to go out there on some sort of, you know what I mean, discovery, a quest, the quest to find the truth. And I mean, at least we got the internet, so you can cross reference and not, you know, I'll read Fox, I'll read MSNBC, you know, ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN. I'll read all of them, man. I don't like to read MSNBC as much. I don't. It depends on what I'm looking for. You know, I want something that's gonna be critical towards the conservatives. Then you go to the liberal side of media, and then for the opposite, if I want something that's gonna be critical towards the liberals, you go to the conservative side of media. And then I'll get a lot of my stuff from BBC, but they're also very political. I mean, in fact, the BBC is owned by the British. It's the British Broadcasting Company. So the government decides what gets told and what doesn't get told. It's been that way as long as the BBC has been in existence. Like they doing all the wars and everything. So one-sided, of course. If you're trying to find out what's really going on in Ukraine through the BBC, you're only going to get what their cherry-picked information. It's going to be all anti-Putin, anti-Russian. I'm not saying that the Russian people and Putin is they're saints or nothing like that, but Ukraine ain't saints either. So I'll go to Al Jazeera. You know what I mean? I'll try to read some articles from, you know, like China, but you know, the things get lost in translation, and I don't read, you know, Cantonese or, you know, I don't read, you know, Chinese, Mandarin or Cantonese. I don't. But you get my point. You go to as many sources as you can, and you try to piece together the truth as best you can to see what's going on. So here's the second article. And this one, I'm not even familiar with these people here, so I don't know who they are, but here's how much you need to earn to be rich in every state. Wealth is relative, but here's what it looks like in your state. Understanding the Economy by Andrew Lisa, and this was May 12th of 2022. So you just kind of go out there, right? So we're going to read this. I haven't even read this yet. I just saw the headline and put it up. I was looking for something else that was a little more specific, and I couldn't find it. So here we go. Comedian Chris Rock has a no joke about how Bill Gates would feel if he woke up one day with Oprah's money. The point was that, that is kind of funny. The point was that rich is a subjective term. The same holds true if you make a lot of money in America. Where you live has a lot to do with whether you can think of yourself as truly wealthy. I like it so far. To get an idea of what it means to be rich in America, Go Banking Rates use IRS data to conduct the study of the top incomes as they break down by state. It lays out what income level is needed to place you in the top 20% and the top 5% of incomes within your state. So, okay, cool. And I guess this is Go Banking Rates. This is where this information is coming from. I guess there's some sort of bank. So here we go. And they just have this stuff down here. So number 50, Mississippi, which we know is in the deep South, man. So it shouldn't take a whole lot of money to be rich down there, you would think. Average adjusted gross income of the top 20% is $96,203. $96,203. Wow. The minimum you need to make to be in the top 20% is $96,204. Average adjusted gross income of the top 20%, $167.54. And the minimum you would need to be in the top 5%, $293,928. And I wonder if this is net. I they said to get an idea of where we're going to be. I don't know. But they were saying it's like your adjusted income, but hey, that's if I were in Mississippi right now, I'd be doing good. You know what I mean? That's pretty cool. West Virginia. Let's see, for the average adjusted gross income, top 20%. So you're like $97,032. The top 5%, the minimum you would need to be in the top 5%, $278,324. Right? And I guess then they're just doing, annual income, which again, not bad. So you look at Arkansas, you look at Arkansas here, to be in the top 5%, 326,000, Kentucky, 333,000 ish. I'm rounding the numbers up, y'all, or I'm rounding the numbers. 305,000 in New Mexico to be in the top 5%. Wow. Alabama, 320,000 to be in the top 5%. So, so you're looking at, like if you want to be the big fish in a small pond, here are the ponds right here. Just figure out which pond you want. Like Oklahoma, I would think that Oklahoma would have been a lot lower, 335,000. It's pretty high because there's nothing there. But yeah, compared to LA, peanuts. Tennessee, same thing, 363,000. You live pretty good in Tennessee. So yeah, brother Tom Hunter, yeah, he be doing good. He can run all these joints right here. Big Ten's in the house. What's good, brother? What's up to you? Thanks for coming through. Everything is good, man. I'm just hanging out, chilling. Shit here, trying to figure out how much money I need to be rich in some parts of our country. We're gonna cover 3 stories. This is the first story, and I'm just kind of looking at it like Montana to be in the top 5% of earners. You only need to, less than $350,000 a year push you into the top 5%. South Carolina, same thing. And it's funny, like, because I spend quite a bit of time on the red pill side of the internet. And you talk to so many women, and they're like, the kind of guy they want. You hear this all the time. He has to be over 6 feet. He has to be fit. He has to, make $100,000 or more a year. And it's like, okay. But you look at this, like, just to be in the top 5% of earners in Idaho, you need to be making $328,000. So, oh man, $100,000 just doesn't seem to really be big anymore. I mean, $100,000 barely, it doesn't even put you in the top 20% in South Dakota or Idaho, right? Or South Carolina. You really got to be over $100,000 just to get into the top 20% in most states. So yeah, I ain't mad. Hypergamy works. You know what I mean? Like if Indiana, $110,000 just to be in the top 20%. And it just seems like when you talk to women, they talk about that. And I did a show about the rise of the sugar daddy, with this recession that we're in, and we're about to be in for a whole lot of financial pain. People are adjusting the way they date, and I see why. I mean, and so I guess that 6-figure thing is going to have to move. It's no longer going to be 100,000. Still going to be 6 figures, but it's probably going to be like 150 to 200. North Carolina, look at that. I mean, Maine, just to get in the top 20%, 113,000. Ohio, I grew up in Ohio, 113,000. I would have definitely, during my career, I would have definitely been in the top 20% in the states that we've already mentioned, but I would not have cracked the top 5%, not just on my salary as an air traffic controller alone. But, look at Iowa, 114,000 just to be in the top 20. Florida, 115,000 to be in the top 20% of earners, 115,000. Right, and I think the average American is still making like $60,000, between $60,000 and $70,000 a year. I think that's the average American. I'll have to look that up. I didn't, but I mean, look at this: the top 20%. Yeah, $100,000 a year would not get you in the top 20%, and you can just forget about the top 5. But it would not get you in the top 20% in any state that we've scrolled by already. I mean, Rhode Island, Illinois. Yeah, Minnesota 137, Colorado 143. Colorado, that's crazy. Alaska $144,129 a year to be in the top 20% of earners in Alaska. How is that a thing? How is that a thing? That's a lot of money. Who making that kind of bread? New Hampshire, that makes sense. Washington, that makes sense. Almost 150,000. New York. Yeah, almost 100, just right at 150,000. Virginia, 152. How is it that you need to make more money in Virginia to crack the top 20% than you do in New York State? I know New York City is real expensive, and that kind of jacked up their average, but I guess it is a big state. Hawaii, $156,110 just to make the top 20%. $429,000 a year to crack the top 5%. California, $160,999 to be considered the top 20% of earners, and this was adjusted gross, so I would not have made that. I was not in the top 20% of earners now. Maybe halfway through my career, maybe because the numbers I think were lower, but I would not have. I was just under by a hair. You know what I mean? So yeah, in the minimum you need is 161. I was well, no, I was in the top 20% in Cali. I was in the top 20%, nowhere near the top 5. You know, same thing in Connecticut. You look at Maryland, Massachusetts. I mean, Jersey is number 1, the most expensive place in America. Look at that, according to Go Banking Rates. To make the top 20%, you need to make $170,964, and to crack the top 5%, you need to make $529,601. You know, over $500,000. This is top. So I thought that was kind of interesting to watch that. This is how much money you need to make living in America. Better get it together quick. There was another article I wanted to pull up, and this will probably be a pretty quick show because I just wanted to jump on and just have a little fun, throw something up a little quick. Let me pull this up, and then since I'm single, I'm gonna have to make my own sandwich. But I got turkey and roast beef, and I got some nice honey mustard and some mayo and some bruschetta buns. Yeah, I'm gonna make me a good sandwich. Y'all don't think I'm playing. As soon as I finish these stories, I'm gonna get me a nice sandwich. Shout out to those women out there who are making their men sandwiches. I think that's pretty cool. For those of y'all who are in relationships, I hope all is well. Let's see, what am I trying to do? Here it is. This is what I'm trying to show you. Let me share that. So this is off of, I think, the Action News down here in Florida. We're not going to watch the video. We're just going to read the article. Here in Hillsborough County, Tampa woman shocked to see a 45% increase in rents. This is going on all over Florida. My cousin's been living here for, close to 20 years. And the entire time he's been in Tampa, the Tampa area, Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater, Largo, Newport Richey, the greater Tampa area. He tells me rent has never gone down, ever. Rent has never stabilized, leveled out, ever. It's been doing nothing but going up. It's been going up and up and up and up. And recently, because of people moving around because they can work from home, rent has shot up like an F-18. So what's the price of paradise? It's the question of Erica Belzerian is asking right now. Belzerian moved to Tampa last October, choosing to settle at Society West Shore. Her apartment recently told her if she decides to stay another year, it'll cost 45% more. I think that's a little bit unconscionable. We are experiencing such insane inflation right now and are on the brink of recession. So for apartment ownerships in the city of Tampa to be asking people to pay this amount of an increase, because I know it's not unique to me, it's not unique to my building, it feels really wrong. Business is business. She moved in. Her base rent was $1,937. If she signs for another second year, she'll have to pay $2,821 for the same unit. Right? This is going on all over Tampa. It's probably going on all over Florida, but like Tampa, Orlando, this is a thing. Miami rents have always been high, and they're still kind of creeping up there, but Tampa exploded. Like the rents are just ridiculous, and you can't find a place. So it's not like you can sit back and try to work something out. They're going to tell you to kick rocks. Like, you pay this or you don't live here. Man, she said the apartment complex sent the letter well before its 60-day notice. She was expecting a letter in mid-August, not early July. So to get the letter in July, making it sound like a really great offer that I need to let them know by the middle of the month about this $884 rent increase was kind of shocking. You know what I mean? Well, it's business. They know you. They want to get an idea of what units are going to be available because somebody's going to pay it. Especially over there, anywhere near the beach, someone's going to pay it. ABC Action reached out to Society West Shore for rent increases, about the rent increases. The complex declined to comment. I mean, why would you? They know what's wrong. There's nothing in the renewal letter that says whether they're making any sort of improvements or offering new services here. It's really just market increases is what they're calling it. So if that were the case for this large rental increase, then I would love that to be communicated so that we could know where our money was going. So here's the thing, like as soon as you pay that bread, it's not your money, it's their money. It's not our money, it's their money. They're running the business, right? They're looking around. They know it's a crunch. They know everyone came out here. You got New York, California, right? You got Washington. You got these people coming from these high cost of living areas, and they're coming out here, and they're like, oh man, this is nothing. I get all this apartment, and I get this beach view. I get all this for $2,300. What were they saying? $2,300? That's nothing to them. It's 3 times that in New York, LA, San Francisco, San Diego, right? So she was like, what am I getting for my money? It's not your money anymore. It's their money. You know what I mean? So, and it's terrible, but that's what it is. So it continues. There are options for all renters who are feeling the same shock as Belzerian, regardless of their apartment complex. You can negotiate your rent with your landlord. Tampa-based tenant landlord attorneys say it is best. The best idea is to research similar apartments or houses in your area. Put your findings into a letter and make sure to negotiate before the lease is up. And that's what this poor lady plans to do. I'm hoping to negotiate to something that works for both of us. And if we can't, then I'll find somewhere else in the city to live. And it's, and that's pretty much it. And it's sad, it's like, that's not going to help her. That's not going to help her. Like, I'm going to find someplace else to live. Okay. That's why they gave you the lease notice so far out, because they know you're going to move, but they probably got a waiting list for that unit. So if you want to stay there, you're going to have to pay that money. It's a shame, I know, but that's just how business works. I think in California, there are laws against this sort of thing. You can only increase the rent so much. And I'm not talking about rent control. They have that as well. Not as stringent as they do in New York, but California, LA has a version of rent control. But everywhere in the city, you can only increase the rent a percentage. And I don't, 45%. Yeah, you can't do that. Not in 1 year. So they can increase it, but they can't jump it like that. And California is very business friendly. I'm sorry, not California. Florida is very business friendly. Now that's the difference you get between red and blue states. And this is what they're doing. That's what the market dictates right now. I moved into a place, it was the same thing. You know what I mean? They just gonna jump it up, and they're gonna continue to jump it up. So, places like Tampa, even though the housing market is kind of crazy, it's definitely a seller's market still, even though things are starting to adjust with the higher interest rates. It's almost best to get up to buy a place, because you're going to spend less money buying a property than renting one out here. Until that changes. I think it might be changing soon, but until that changes, that's just how it is. It is what it is. And there's one final story, which I think is the funniest story. Let me, of all 3. And I'll pull this up real quick. And people have been asking me, like, where's Jay Swan's? It's summertime. Jay Swan's, he's a family man. He got stuff going on. So he'll jump on when he get time. We'll definitely get back to doing what we do in due time. In due time. So, but yeah, appreciate y'all looking out for the brother. You know what I mean? But he's definitely out there doing his thing. And again, a couple days ago, we had that show with Rook, which was amazing. People talking about it today. That was a good show. We're going to continue rocking that out. So here we go. So there was a company. New owners of company declared no more employees can quit. They made a rule, like, I have spoken. No more employees can quit. And that earned them mockery. No kidding. So I won't bore you guys with the entire story. But there was A family bought a trucking storage company, right? They bought this thing and they took over. And when they took over, they made new rules. One of the rules, they had a bunch of rules. They were cutting people pay. They were making people like have unpaid lunch when they used to have paid lunch, stuff like that. They were telling them you have to go to church, you have to go to a certain church, you have to give some give money to the church. They made all these crazy rules. And they were like, so of course what happened? All the employees started quitting. So their answer to that was, we're gonna make another rule where no one can quit. and all this came off of Reddit. And it's a small chunk of company, you know what I mean? And it looks like some family just came in and bought it. And I just think it was just funny to me. They made a bunch of new rule changes to align with their ultra Christian evangelical beliefs. You know what I mean? They wanted people to go to prayer meetings. Like the new rules include a ban on drug and alcohol while off the clock. I can understand you run a business, you don't want people coming to work drunk and high, I get that. But when they're off the clock, you're saying they can't do what they want to do? Along with random drug testing following holidays and weekends, a new dress code, and as of next year, all time off will be unpaid. This is what the new owners decided to do. We just gonna do this. In addition, they announced mandatory morning prayer meetings. You have to go to morning prayer meeting. Okay. Employees are also strongly encouraged to join the owner's church, right? Including tithing and volunteering. Church participation will also be taken into account when determining promotions and raises. And I got friends of mine, we were talking about the Middle East, talking about the Taliban, we were talking about religious extremists. And they were saying how Americans would never be like that. You know what I mean? The Taliban are crazy, blah, 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 blah. I was like, bro, if Americans could get away with it, we got some crazy religious folks over here as well. So and this was, man, we had this conversation decades ago. And here you go. Here you go. It's the 6th and already 6. I'm sorry. It's the 6th and already 11 people have either quit or put in their notice. So much so that they sent out an email saying that they will not be accepting any more resignations, or the business will have to stop due to staffing shortages. Hey, y'all, we came in here, we screwed all this up so bad, so we're not going to take any more notices, no more resignations. If we do, we're going to have to go out of business. Yeah, you're going to have to go out of business because you want me to go to your church. You don't want to pay me for my time off anymore. You don't want me to drink when I'm at home in my own house doing my own thing. You want me to volunteer at your church, right? And if I don't, you're going to hold that against me when it comes to promotions? Yeah, bro, I'm out. Peace. Like, but I'm not even, well, this dude's like, I'm not even Christian. So that's funny. And this is a trucking company. They should be making money hand over fist right now with the supply shortage and all that. I know truckers are killing it. Yeah, gas has gone up, but truckers are still killing it. People can't find truckers to move stuff around for them. These people should be making tons and tons of money. Man, I mean, even the article goes on to say that since 2021, there's been a trucker shortage leading to supply chain issues around the U.S. and Canada. Various solutions have been floated, including legislation allowing teenagers to drive semi-trucks. That's crazy. And one Texas company offering drivers $14,000 per week. $14,000 a week, and they can't get people to take the job, bro. And this company comes in talking all this nonsense. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. Yeah, here's what it was. In other words, it's definitely a workers' market out there for truck drivers looking for a job. The strict rules and cuts to benefits is not a winning solution for enticing employees. While it's illegal for a workplace to ban drinking and drug use off the clock in 31 states, according to workforce.com, it is not recommended. So, yeah, and I misread that. I'm sorry, y'all. While it's legal for a workplace to ban drinking and drug use off the clock in 31 states, according to workforce.com, it's not recommended. So in 31 states in America, your job can tell you what to do when you ain't working. in 31 states. I'm gonna have to look up those 31 states. Even in the other 29 states, such a regulation could run afoul of Americans with Disabilities Acts, which states alcoholism is a disability. Okay, so it's a disability, therefore you can't hold me. Okay, all right, well. It's also legal for a company to offer no pay leave in the United States. Right? They can. I guess they can. Their terms can be their terms, but you're not going to keep anybody. However, some of the owners' other rules are, in fact, illegal. Requiring prayer is a violation of Section 7 of the 1964 Civil Rights Act, just as banning employees from prayer would be. Right? So you can't make them pray, and you can't ban them from praying. The law says that the employees must be allowed to pray, but they cannot be required. Likewise, basing promotion or raises on church attendance is also a violation of federal law. So, hey man, that's just an opportunity right there for people to learn about bad leadership, bad management skills. That's dumb. That company's going to go out of business, period, because that is dumb. And you got people that are just quitting left and right. It is what it is. That is dumb. So I just wanted to jump on real quick to go over those 3 stories. I'm gonna try to find some more funny, weird stories or whatever that I can find, unique stuff. I got some loaded up. I just haven't fired yet. I got this big whiteboard and it's clear because I ran all the stories I wanted to run. There's a story out there about Martha Stewart and her dating strategies. I'm going to definitely talk about that. And then there's a story out there about a couple in which the male, I think they're married. The husband is really fit and the wife is really big, really like obese. And she's on TikTok talking about body shaming and this and that. Talking about a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm definitely going to talk about that one. I'm trying to find an opposing view. Hopefully, I can find one of my female friends to jump on with me, because the article is crazy. I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but I'm definitely going to be talking about that next week. And we got tomorrow. We're doing a show on F1, Formula One racing. I got a good friend of mine who knows all about it, and he's going to come on and break it down. So that's tomorrow. And then on Monday, I'm doing a show about dating in your 50s. Now that I'm in my 50s, I'm still single. I'm out there doing my thing. I'm gonna talk about it a little bit, and that's gonna be on Monday. So y'all, again, thanks for popping in. Thanks for saying hello. I appreciate it. I'm gonna keep cranking out the content, trying to make it happen because I'm just having fun with this, y'all. I'm having a good time. We're gonna turn this into something big, just because it's a cool show. And I'm DL Saint. This is I Really Want to Know podcast. So I'm going to keep doing this because I really want to know. I hope y'all do too. I'm DL Saint. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.